I keep going back to Memorial Day because the terrible behavior that Trump displayed um, on that holiday was just, well, terrible. And several people are writing about it at the Times, at the Post. This was a weekend dedicated to war dead, right? I mean, that's the idea. War dead from every war. Although, the holiday didn't start out that way, as I so adroitly misspoke on, was it on Friday? Then had to correct myself on Monday. I don't know. I've lost track of days, but I hope I got that cleared up. But it's dedicated to war dead. And that dedication, of course, is only for the living, the war dead, any dead. Couldn't care less. They don't know they're dead. um, but on that weekend that just passed, Trump was tweeting insults. He was promoting his lies and baseless claims. Oh, and he was playing golf. And Ann Guerin, who writes for the Post, had an interesting column. I want to share part of it with you. And before I get into it, as we know, the death toll in the coronavirus pandemic was nearing 100,000 Americans on Memorial Day weekend. No matter. Trump derided and insulted his enemies, perceived and real, and talked about that horrible conspiracy theory against Joe Scarborough. Oh, and all of that was between rounds of golf, of course. And last Saturday and Sunday, in a bunch of tweets, Trump mocked former Georgia governor candidate Stacey Abrams' weight. He ridiculed the looks of House Speaker Nancy Pelosi. He called former Democratic presidential rival, former Secretary of State, former First Lady Hillary Clinton, a skank. That's his word, skank. I and my buddy Jerry, who's now dead, used to use that term in high school almost 60 years ago. Skank? And then, of course, his bullshit about Joe Scarborough killing a woman. And his assertion, with no evidence at all, to the contrary, his position should be there is no evidence about mail-in voting routinely producing voter fraud or ballot stuffing. It just doesn't happen. But one thing he didn't spend a lot of time making mention of was the sacrifice that Americans have made in fighting capitalism's wars or in fighting to either preserve or defeat slavery in this country, or the grim toll of this virus. This filthy man doesn't care anything about any of that. In fact, as Ann Guerin points out, Trump's barrage of social media attacks stood in sharp contrast to a sober reality on this past weekend of mourning military dead. The sober reality, of course, being the number of Americans whose lives have been claimed by the novel coronavirus, and that death toll now has become greater than the combined total of U.S. deaths from wars in Vietnam, the Persian Gulf, Iraq, and Afghanistan. Trump's big effort on Monday was his very quick, hurry, let's get this over, wreath-laying ceremony at Arlington National Cemetery, and his hurry up quick, let's get this over, for Christ's sake, I have tea time. Oh, wait a minute, I don't need tea time, I'm the president. His visit to Fort McHenry in Baltimore or the 1814 battle, I guess that was the War of 1812, but where that battle inspired the Star-Spangled Banner, where the battle was fought. And the mayor of Baltimore had tried to discourage the visit, saying it sent conflicting messages about the importance of staying home and protecting other Americans. But Trump, fuck you. He wanted the photo op, and he got it because American media was there, as always. And if you remember back on Friday, a week ago, he called for worshipers to be able to go back to church in person. He didn't. He played golf all day Sunday, right? And nobody at the White House, Press Secretary Kayleigh McEnany, who had also made some snide remark, a snotty, bitchy remark to reporters when they asked her on Friday about Trump. Trump doesn't go to church. He uses church as a prop. And she made some snotty remark about Trump's call for a return to the pews. Neither her nor any other spokesperson responded to questions about Trump's activities on Sunday. No. Do as he says, not what he does. And in the Virginia suburbs of Washington, D.C., where Trump played golf at his Trump National Club in Sterling, Virginia, houses of worship were allowed by executive order, by the order of the governor, that they could hold services with 10 participants, or larger settings where the congregants remained in their cars, or, like I mentioned before, why not outside? Oh, well. Trump tweeted incorrectly on Sunday, cases, numbers, and deaths are going down all over the country. And the truth is, new cases are declining in most of the former hotspots, including New York City, but they're plateauing rather than declining in Washington, Chicago, Los Angeles, Minneapolis, on and on and on. Oh, and then his Twitter barrage last week included really slimy things about women that he views as his adversaries. And that would be any woman who doesn't look like a younger version of Melania. He retweeted one supporter, I should say, in rapid succession. He blasted a doctored image of Pelosi and 2 images of Miss Abrams to his more than 80 million Twitter followers. Stacey Abrams, who is under consideration as a vice presidential pick by Biden, according to Trump, she's visited every buffet restaurant in the state. And then he said this. He retweeted a tweet that showed doctored images of Pelosi's face. And one of those doctored images had a Trump 2020 mask over her mouth. And the other had silver duct tape over her mouth. And the tweet was, quote, "To protect Polygrip during this pandemic, we have developed 2 options. With the DJT option, what the hell is that? Donald J. Trump, I guess. She will be able to tongue and adjust her dentures more easily." Jesus. And then the other one, with duct tape, she won't be able to drink booze on the job as much. Which do you think she will prefer? Hi, Truth Seekers. Mike Malloy here. As you know, we've switched formats and are now broadcast exclusively on the Progressive Voices Network. So that means you get fewer program interruptions, no corporate commercials, and lots of profanity. But our format change also means some of our radio listeners no longer hear the program. It's been a while since I mentioned our podcasts, so you may have forgotten that there is a way to listen to this program anytime you need a good dose of screaming. Visit MikeMalloy.com and subscribe to our podcasts. You have your choice. You can listen to the ranting with the audio podcast or listen and watch me lose control with a video podcast subscription. As a podcast subscriber, you can download the program to your mobile device and take me with you wherever you go. And if you have a friend who needs a dose of truth-seeking, you can give a gift subscription as well. That's MikeMalloy.com. And never miss a minute of the uncensored fun and frivolity.